Welcome back. This is Kimile, and you are listening to a Heal with Kimile podcast. How are you doing this week of Thanksgiving? A lot of people have a hard time with holidays, I'll tell you. That's when therapy schedule gets busy for me because people are coming back into town and they've got to deal with their family, or they're not sure about dealing with their family, so they want to avoid it. So they call me and it's like, strategize with me. How do I get out of there? Well, let me give you my number one tips for helping people cope with family BS during the holidays. I always say drive separate so that if it's going to get gnarly, it's going to get heated, you can leave at any time. You are not trapped there. You're not stuck there. You can get out. So that's the number one thing is, how do I avoid that pressure cooker moment when I'm getting the questions, when my sister's competing with me, or the narcissist in the family is just dominating and taking control of every conversation and bragging, and you feel like you're invisible. Well, again, have your exit strategy figured out. And maybe you just say, look, I can only be here for an hour, or come right as the dinner is getting served, not beforehand where there's drinks and, people are cocktailed up and they're in their worst, mood and mindset, and things get a little ugly. So pace yourself, only take on what you can handle. Give yourself a time limit, get yourself out of there when you start getting a little feeling coming back to you like, oh, here it goes. And then avoid the social moments. Be there for the food. Drive separate, get yourself out of there. So that's the number one thing is just make sure you are in control of the territory, and as best you can, plan things where you're just there for the breaking bread moments, and then you can leave. If you are cornered, if someone's starting to harass you and you've got that, the uncle or whatever, you could just say something like, I really don't want to talk about that right now, or that doesn't really seem to be a proper conversation, does it? You could push it back on them a little bit, but you want to maintain your mood. The most important thing when you're in these type of pressure cooker moments is do not react. The second they got you, the second they are in and they know you're just fuming or you're just ready to pounce or you're going to scream back at them, that's when you need to leave. So take your pie to go. Just maybe when you get there, you put a piece of pie on a plate. It's in the fridge, a little whipped cream on the side, and it's covered up, and you can just grab your pie and leave if you don't want to miss your pie. I had a few people do this, like, get your dessert to go, because about halfway into the meal, you're going to walk away from your turkey and your stuffing and your cranberry, and you're going to have a moment. So grab your pie so you can not miss out on your pie, your favorite pumpkin pie this year. So, but literally, people have to be strategic when they're going into the old war zone, we call it. And it really, really is such a big deal. It always amazed me how reactive people can get. And then if there's alcohol, oh Lord, it is unbelievable what happens when alcohol gets involved. So people get really out of control. But all of the old memories, all of the history that's unresolved seems to surface. And again, how do you deal with that? How do you handle that? You've got to have a prepared response. You want to know how you're going to respond so that you don't go down that rabbit hole like you did last year or the year before. And do not drink. Look, don't drink. You can drink after. If you're going to need to drink, you can drink after. Do not drink while you're there. Don't drink before. I know you think about Kimile, I need a drink. I cannot face these people with it. Yes, you can. In fact, they will be drinking. You won't be. You're going to have a little leverage, a little bit more self-control if you're sober. So please, please, please do not open that bottle until after the event, and be home when you're doing it. And then have a friend or a committed listener, someone that loves you, that you can just call and say, can I decompress? And then that person helps you recover from the dinner, from that moment. I schedule people on Friday. I've got 5 ladies scheduled on Friday after Thanksgiving because they go through such a horrific time with their siblings or whoever at these moments, their mother or their father. They're going out of honor and respect, but they really, really have to process things right after. And I suggest that you do that, even if it's just talking to your girlfriend, talking to your buddy, just so you can get it off your heart, off your mind. And then you don't go take it into Christmas, but you want to kind of process the emotions as they come up. It's interesting what surfaces when you're sitting with these people again. You haven't seen them for maybe a year, maybe all year long until the holidays come around. That's your time to get together. And they really still know how to push those buttons. It's really interesting. It's pretty powerful, actually. So I would say have a committed conversation, a listening conversation. on Friday to just let it all go. This is why you moved out of state. This is why you don't talk to them routinely. It's why they don't come to your birthday party. But you have to maintain yourself and maintain your mood so you don't lose control. That's the worst. You kind of already know you're walking into an ambush, and you will maintain composure if you have a plan. So strategically set yourself up to win, and then just know what you're going to say in response to some verbal assault or verbal attack or mocking. A lot of it is just, trying to mess with you. I would get, oh, here's the microphone right here, and here's Kimile coming in, And so I laugh. I'm like, that's cute. That's funny. That's all I say. I don't respond. It doesn't get to me anymore. But I'm mocked routinely, when I go home. And it's probably love and light, but I choose to see it as just light. It just is what it is. And then I rarely have conversations with most of these people except for once a year. So I'm just going to be my bright, cheery self. I will drive myself. I'll, leave when I need to leave. And I'll put my pie in the fridge before I get out of there so I can grab it on the way out. So I would love to hear from y'all. What do you do? What's your strategy for surviving the holidays with old family members? Another thing that is a good idea if you've got some people that trigger you is to possibly bring pictures. Do something that's a good distraction. So maybe we do like a memory lane and you're in charge of the conversation. I did this once. I had a big photo album. I was great at doing photo albums and I just put tons of pictures in there. And I brought it and I passed it around the table and I directed the conversation. So it was more about, remember Grandpa, remember Grandma, oh my gosh, her bread pudding was I just controlled the narrative. And so that seemed to help steer the conversation off any infighting. And it wasn't me that would get kind of poked at. It was, the men. And then it was, loud voices and people screaming. And that wasn't always fun for the kids. So I really tried to have some sort of maybe entertainment or discussion about the past and good memories. And remember this big dinner, Grandma made and what a great cook she was. Things like that. So if you want to step in there and kind of take the lead with the conversation so the narrative doesn't go dark and people are maybe even assign something. When I have dinner at my house, I want people to, talk about what they're grateful for and what good memories they want to come up with and share. So we kind of take our turns and everybody has a moment. I pass that little thing, you throw a little squishy ball and they pass it to whoever they want to talk, next, right? It's amazing how that can kind of keep the conversation light and fun and breezy and pleasant. I mean, that's really what you want to do is have an enjoyable, pleasant time with the family, no? Then that's what it's all about. It's supposed to be about love and laughter and joy. And it's too bad that I get really busy this time of year. And I'm happy I can be there for people. I love my clients. I love, love, love working with people. And I just am amazed at how much it kind of messes them up. And it can mess you up for days, weeks, months. But this is why you got to have a plan. So prepare yourself. There's a lot of online tips that are out there as well. But get yourself a plan so that you don't lose your equanimity, that you don't lose your peace, and you don't have nightmares for a month. And then possibly you try and do something to change it up so that you have more of a contribution. And it feels like there's ways people can contribute to you or you can contribute to them with a compliment. Maybe you say, the things I love about Grandma are, and we kind of target someone, maybe they're older and they're not doing so well. Maybe we don't have any more Christmases with them. But I've had people write little love notes or thank you notes to people like Grandma, Grandpa, the uncle that's aging. Maybe he forgets who he is. He's got dementia. But we have a moment of gratitude, and that one person gets singled out, and they get thanked for all the years and contribution. If you don't have someone that's ailing or you're worried about not seeing again, you just do it for the kids, or you do it for like anybody. I've had people just say, who do you want to thank? Who do you want to thank at this table? And, throw the little squishy ball at them and then you get to say your piece. So it's a wonderful way to kind of keep the holidays cheery and loving instead of, fighting. I've seen so many families just have major meltdowns and then food's thrown and people get drunk and they peel out or they get DUIs or they're in jail. I mean, I have been around some major, debacles on holidays. Thanksgiving is one of those where it's supposed to be a feast and then people just get nasty and ugly. But if this is something you're going through and you don't know how to handle it or you need to talk to someone just so you can clear yourself and not take it with you, you can give me a call. You can get a hold of me, book a session with me, even a half hour. You just need to vent. I'm happy to listen. But I do think Thanksgiving is really about giving thanks. So I take it literally, and for me, it's one of my favorite holidays of the year, that and Easter. But I think it's the Easter egg hunts that I like. I used to hide $100 bills and Easter eggs, and these kids would go crazy. It was so fun. But anyway, that's Easter. But Thanksgiving is about giving thanks. It's about remembering the good times. And if you can control what your narrative is and you can control how the conversation goes, do not let someone peck at you, mock you, poke you. And even if they're doing that, if you can't get away, you can't distract, you really can just in yourself manage your mood. You're not going to let them get to you. I used to be guilt tripped a lot when I was younger, and I hate guilt tripping. I mean, it's like if someone's trying to guilt trip me, immediately now I'm like, what do you want? What are you doing behind my back? Like, I'm getting a little defensive. I'm like, don't guilt trip me. So that really is one of my buttons. So I have to just kind of go, okay. So if there's a little bit of a mocking, a little guilting, yeah, who are you? You're out there doing whatever. You're not home with us anymore. Something like that. I just have my own comments. And I'm like, oh, well, you guys can come up and hang out with me and do it with me. I just kind of keep it light. I do not let myself go down that road of anger and resentment. And why you got to this? Why you got to that? I don't even ask those questions anymore because I don't let it hook me. You really have to be on your guard not to get hooked. If you can avoid getting hooked, you can survive the day. And there's lots of things to do with kids. Make them play games. They've all got their tablets. They've all got their phones now. But you want to keep the kids busy and just, again, have it be a drama-free zone. I even have, it's like above my door, leave the drama here. And so they take off their shoes, they walk in the house, leave the drama here. So you just want to have a plan no matter what. There's a lot of things you can do to keep yourself distracted, keep them distracted from going down the same fights. And sometimes you're kind of playing referee, like you're watching, oh no, here's Uncle Jeff and he's mad at Bill for, what are we going to do? So I have done this beforehand. I said, look, you come and dinner at my house. Are you still upset with Bill? Are you upset with Jeff? Yeah. Okay, well, you're going to have that fight before you get here or after, because this is a no fight zone. And I even stand up and, ting, ting, ting with the glass. And I say, this is a no fight zone. We're not going to have any arguments here. If you want to have that discussion later, fine. I'll even mediate it. I'll be happy to mediate it, but not while we're here enjoying each other. This is not a family affair. So if you want to discuss something, let's do it beforehand. Let's just get it out of the way. And I've actually been successful at getting some of the family to discuss things and apologize, and then move into the meal with actually a smile on their face and gratitude and happy to be there. So I've done therapy early morning Thanksgiving with some people when they come over. I'm like, come before everybody else. Let's get this conversation going and get it done. So I really think it's a really prime opportunity time for people to get over their grudges, get over their past, let go of the family drama, and just celebrate each other, celebrate the connection. You have a family. You're great. You should be grateful to have what you have, right? And a lot of people hate hearing that, but it's true. A lot of people don't have families this time of year. They don't have anything. So if you do have a place to go, if you've got a dinner table waiting for you, your name's on that seat, be happy you've got that. That's all I have to say about this week, and happy Thanksgiving. I would be happy and delighted to help you and your family deal with whatever you've got going on. And you can find me on my website at healwithkimile.com. That's HEAL with KIMILE.com. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Bye.